Spawning in the bottom right in the blue for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, he is Dark. And his opponent in the upper left in the red. Struggling against his opponent recently, but we're going to have to see something else for the Kwangdong Freaks. Trap. And we got to remember, again, Dark is looking terrifying in this matchup. Classic, who beat him last week, was 2-0'd in brutal fashion. We're gonna have to see whether Trap is any better. For quite a while, Trap was the thought leader, the build order leader in how Protoss approaches Zergs in Korea. He invented the Stargate builds, the most of them that we saw played, that dominated the matchups for quite a while. That is no longer as viable as it once was. Although I have seen some talk about double Stargate Phoenix seeing a resurgence as a strong style, as Dark is gonna steal. Dark is all sorts of cheeky. He is it seems like he really likes this hatch block idea, because even if he's not doing it, he is scouting with a drone in 3 straight games, and he will be able to deny the gas for a little bit, actually making Trap drop a little bit of mining time, which is of course just the smallest bit annoying. It's not going to make or break the game, but when you are at the highest level and you are Dark, you are Trap, any small advantage you can find, he'll take it. And of course, remember, folks, drones regen. So this is not a probe or something that is just kind of like permanently on 5 HP and whatever. It's not a worker that will eventually die. But remember, last time we saw a drone scout like this, we saw a Dark who went for a Ling Queen Nidus. We're going to have to see what he wants to go for in this game. For now, the probe scout will survive. The drone scout will also survive to mine back home. And I guess part of the reason that we saw Dark not just staying there forever until it died was the fact that this is Berlingrad, and it's actually a rather short rush distance. You can get your probe back pretty quickly, and therefore I guess it makes it worth it. This is of course the Twilight opener from Dark, from Trap in this game. Robo as well. Most likely this is Twilight. I have started to see more DT Archon drops in the recent past, but that is primarily tier 2 North American players, so I would not argue that they are defining the meta right now. You never know. The 2-1-1 battlecruiser build that TY has used to great effect in the past was stolen from like a top 150 GM. No, wasn't it like a diamond player? Yeah, it was like a diamond Korean Terran. And TY said, "I like the idea of this. I'm going to go for it," and he refined it and brought it to usability in a pro level and kill a lot of Zergs. So sometimes lower level players do have a better idea of how the meta is going to evolve than the pros do, because while the pros have a great understanding of how this game works, sometimes if you play the same thing like 500 times, you'll get stuck into like this heuristic trap of that's how the game goes. You'll get stuck into your pathway is your analysis of how things work. Okay, so Glaive's just about done, but this is the Zoun build, the Shone build, however you want to say his name. Because while this is a Glaive Adepts, and he's going to build 8 Adepts to start, he's actually not massing things up together. In fact, his Warp Prism is going to look to dive in the main as these Adepts look to distract in the third base. But there are disruptors behind this, or there will be disruptors behind this. The Adepts right now, they're to force units out early, they're to force roaches, they're to prevent Dark from droning as hard as he would like. By getting on into a disruptor plays, actually a couple of Adepts are going to be forced to shade on home. Your Stalker will go down. That's already going to be something here for Dark. But again, while Dark is doing all of this, and again, it looks like the DTs are not going to find much value, he won't be able to go and counterattack and kill his opponent because there are going to be 2-3 disruptors on the field. Eventually, theoretically, speed prisms. And all of this together does mean that any sort of Roach Ravager timing is just not going to be all that effective. Did Dark see... Did he see the Robobay? He did not. So he might have an idea that that's what's happening, because this has not been super committal by Trap. It's always the 2 Adepts, so he's going to get 3-4 workers. Maybe 5. No, he's going to get 4. Okay. There we go. Disruptor speed just about done. Blink on the way as well. So the way you get out of this, by the way, the way you transition out of this is not into a prolonged macro game. As Zerglings are going to go for a counterattack. Adepts should be able to deal with this, but they're all shading across the map here. So Zerglings, they're going to knock a pylon down. They're going to be annoying. They're going to get on top of the shield battery as well. 2 Adepts return home, and as the shield battery goes down, that just weakens the third base just a little bit. But Disruptors are here. Speed Prism is done, and we're going to see Trap. He's got a couple different targets. Does he go for Queens? Does he go for Roaches, Ravagers? Does he go for Drones? All of these are valid options, but he needs to make sure to drop his Speed Prism in a spot. He needs to drop his Disruptors in a spot where he's not really going to take too much damage. Disruptor shot's going to go off. He's going to be forced to lift 1. The second one gets a single Ravager. Okay, not too much. And what is the state of these Disruptors? One is low enough. Not orange, but yellow. It took some hull damage, but not catastrophically so. As these steps on the other side, they will be found on out here. It looks like 1 will go into main base, but Zerglings rallying will be able to kill that one up. So now Dark, he's going to he's going to kind of commit to this push. He's at the very least going to commit enough to make his opponent think that he's committing to it. But behind this, we got Aspire. Behind this, we will see Mutaplay, which does seem to be the strongest tech of the patch right now. And the whole point of what Trap is doing, by the way, you gotta actually get damage. You gotta kill Roaches and Ravagers, as Zerglings are gonna find their way on in as well. Bile's getting dropped on top of things, and that's not gonna really hit. But Zerglings on in the main base. It's gonna actually force a recall of things. The Stalkers... Oh, that's interesting. Okay, the Stalkers were forced forward. His Disruptor Shot's going to go on top of a lot of Roaches here, so this is not going to find all that much. Zerglings in the main base are going to get cleaned out here by a bunch of Blink Stalkers. Maybe not the best opportunity, but something. Roaches in the natural here as well. They're going to find some workers, but not a ton. Shield Battery Overcharge is not really doing anything. But there we go. Disruptor Shot, actually, again, it's not going to get too much, but Stalkers are here now, and Stalkers kill Roaches pretty easily. And this push from Dark did not get too much done. Got 5 workers. That well actually is going to get more now. Roaches, Ravagers into the third base. But we have to remember, 12 Mutas are on the way. Dark did not exactly commit to this super hard. What he tried to do was panic his opponent, force him to go and commit to ground tech a little bit more. And then when Mutas arrive, there will be no response. Now, of course, this is not with +1. The Stalkers are just +0, but Trap did not lose a lot of his army. He does have an effective push here on the other side of the map. Mutas and Lings are going to go for a base trade. And while there's a wall here, the Mutas are going to snap that Zealot down in an instant. So the question now is, who has the better base trade? It always hurts so much to go base trade against Ling Muta. There's so much maneuverability, so much DPS, so much anti-structural ability, so much ability to get on top of probes. So the Stalkers, they have to run away. It looks like Trap says, okay, I am going to fortify my third base. That is where I will make my stand. That is how I'm going to hold this game. As the Adepts continue to find value, continue to move on in, but the Zerglings, the Mutas, they're going to get it on top of this fortified third before it is ready to go. So the Zerglings start to go down, but the Muta count is all that matters. 16 Mutas still remain. There's no shield battery overcharge here. The Stalkers, they're falling. The Muta count is not increasing or decreasing. In fact, it is increasing. +1 air, though, will be denied. And the Mutas will kill the third base. Zerglings will kill the third base. But 26 workers have died. Disruptor shots on top of a lot of drones. They're going to be somewhat nice. And remember, folks, we have a recall. We have the ability here for the Stalkers to recall their way back home after killing a bunch of hatcheries and maybe equalize things. So for right now, Trap is down on effectively 0 probes. He has to get as much hatcheries as he can and then go kill his opponent. He needs to win a fight. And it actually looks like he may not have recall. No, he does. I don't know why he's not doing it. But, okay, Zerglings, Mutas in the main base. They will be able to kill the main base here. They're going to eventually supply block Trap, although it doesn't really matter because Trap is rather low on money. And with the Zerglings here as well. So there we go. Zerglings are going to try to get on top of all of these Stalkers, and they will be somewhat successful, but they just need to kill some Stalkers. There is no +1 here. These Stalkers are not good enough. The Mutas kill it off. GG. Trap. He falls down. Dark takes game. So again, we saw Trap. He went for the old Zoun build. And he wasn't able to find much. He held, but he took... With that build, you're not supposed to take damage from, especially from a half-committal Ling Roach Ravager. As Dark, he's pantomiming that he's going to go for a hatch block. I don't... Well... Yeah, like I said, I don't think he does. In fact, he skirts the edges of it, so the Nexus goes up anyways. And actually, yeah, Trap has learned his lesson. He says, yeah, you don't get to block my gas. You can be annoying and play Ring Around the Rosie and prevent me from getting gas that way, but you're not going to be able to build an extractor on it. There we go. Refinery going on down. Sorry, a simulator going on down. The unit that makes gas go vroom vroom. Or the structure, the building. But again, it's really interesting seeing how Dark has chosen to play ZVP now that this new patch has happened. We've seen him drone scout, I think, every game. We've seen him send a drone across the map every single game in this series, as Dark is doing the thing to Protoss that Protoss are not used to having to do in this matchup. So we saw it mess with the mining. Actually, yeah, he's been pretty successful about it, although he will mine now, so that's that. But again, these constant drone scouts, it threatens a hatch block, it threatens an all-in. It killed Classic in game 1 because he did not respect it enough. But regardless, this is not something we've seen in the meta for a while. I'm not exactly sure why Dark is doing it just yet. Maybe there's a lot more all-ins, a lot more early all-ins on the ladder, so he's just making sure that that doesn't happen. I don't know, but Trap, he says, okay, well, Muta's killed me last game. I'm going to go Stargate this time.
Game paused.
Got a bit of a pause. Hopefully everything's all right. So Oracle is going to run its way on the other side of the map. Of course, Trap, probably the best Oracle control in the world. Certainly amongst active players. So Adepts, actually, with the Adepts and the Oracle as well, this is where things get a little complicated. Because you have Worker bursting potential in 2 spots. But of course, there are no drones here, so the Adepts and the Natural don't really do anything. I think Trap would have preferred to run those into the 3rd base. You're not getting much out of that, Trap. Nice try. I appreciate it. But look at this. +1 melee on the way. That was 4 minutes. So there's an all-in that we see some Zergs do. That is a +1 Ling Queen Nidus. And considering well, we're going to have to see how much gas Dark mines. +1 melee often means you're going to go into mutas. But it also very much could be some sort of Ling Queen all-in. We're going to have to see what happens once this set of queens are done. Does a quick lair happen? Does he decide to stay on hatch tech for much longer? Because again, Queen Walk's not all that great anymore. On this map in particular, it's so long. Now, there's the opportunity, of course, we saw it once. We saw... Shoot, who did it? Just Rogue, maybe? Someone versus Astrea on Pride of Altaris, I think I saw. I know I saw the game. I can't remember who did it, but we did see a hatch cancel into a creep tumor into a Queen Walk, and it seemed to be fairly successful. But there we go. Baneling. Oh, okay, yeah. So this is just going to be a Baneling bust coming out of Dark in this game number 2. Hoping to... Actually, let's take a look at the walls. The Oracle, it gets 3 more workers. That's going to be the extent of it. I mean, this is not all that vulnerable of a wall. You got to get through a structure. It's not like there's a pylon exposed. Or it's just Dark's going to go into Roach and Bane. Okay. Lair is on the way. Roach Warren going down. +1 will be done. So by the time that this army is ready to fight, it's going to be either a very click +2 for, of course, Banelings killing probes, or you're going to have +1 for your Banelings and for your Roaches. You go from there. But now Adepts onto the other side of the map. Of course, Glaives are done. And this is a bit of a weird timing. Generally, Adept Glaives hit much faster. So this might catch Dark off guard just a little bit. Queens are going to go down. Oracles are Trap. Those are a bunch of dead oracles, but 10 workers go down because, again, this does catch Dark off guard. He actually has 4 banelings on the map. That's just about it. And I don't know where they are, but they're certainly not right where they need to be. But, oh, there they are. They're going to kill 12 workers. They're going to neutralize any sort of advantage that Trav has gleaned out of this build just yet. But still, okay, there we go. More and more banelings. They're here now. So for now, at least, the Adepts, they have been stymied. Zerglings are going to get on top of things again. These are +1 banelings. These are +1 lings. They kill these Adepts a whole lot quicker than they might otherwise do. But looks like something is going to go on the third base. Adepts into the natural, trying to target down a couple more workers. Adepts in the third base. There's actually no mining here, so they're not killing anything. But they are targeting down the Spore, maybe putting the fear of DTs into Dark's mind. But of course, his lair is done, so that's really not all that big of a deal. And those 4 banelings that ran into Trap's mineral line, they take a really good situation and they equalize it right on out. No +2 melee is on the way. The lair is done, but no bailing speed just yet. Dark did take damage as he tries to get his Zerglings to do something here. There's actually no shield. Oh, Force Field will go down, but there's no shield battery right here. Nothing to keep this stuff alive for now as Trap looks to move into a Blink Stalker timing off the back of this. There are 4 sentries here, and Force Fields are going to be of the utmost importance in this game. They're going to be incredibly important. If the Banelings connect, the game is over for Trap. If he's able to Force Field out the Banes, he is going to be fine. And actually looks like Trap, well, certainly he's building himself into a position out of this where he can do something. Forge is on the way. He's going to get his upgrades eventually. But for now, he got a fairly big army. In fact, he's up 20 army supply. Ooh, wait a minute. That's a lot. Okay, Blink is done. This is a lot of Overlords to lose. This is 24 supply of Overlords right here. So Dark may find himself fairly not supply blocked, but getting close. Banelings are morphing on in. Of course, Baneling speed is not yet done. We're going to see a Spore go down here to start. It's not going to be able to, well, there it goes. It's going to go down, so it's not going to be able to target fire down this War President. Baneling's looking to roll on forward. Force Fields, though, they're going to sacrifice a sentry, but they're going to be able to keep this army alive for now. Trap no longer has the supply lead he once had. Dark has had time to build more Roaches, more Ravagers, but of course, behind this, Robo Bay is on the way. Disruptors will be the name of the game. Maybe Colossus. We see some builds that are, say, double Colossus, double Disruptor. Blink Stalker, Colossus has been a thing at times. But +2 melee is just about done. These probes are going to be quaking in their, what do you want to, their hovering devices. And their anti-gravity boots. Okay, there we go. Colossus will be the name of the game. But it's only single Robo Colossus, so it's going to take a while to get to kind of critical mass to deal with Banes. And I don't know how much, what you all been watching, but if you watch EPT-EU, Vanya has been killing Protoss with just Ling Bane. He's been killing 3-4 Colossus Protoss with just Ling Bane. And part of it is he was just a better player, but just saying. Extended Thermal Lance, though, is on the way. +1 will eventually be a thing here for Trap. He's building himself up into this big death ball that he can run across the map with. And for now, he's not really... He's on the map, but it's on the edge of creep. It's all about going and reducing creep spread. All about keeping his opponent just a little bit honest while he waits for him to... He waits to get to this 3-4 Colossus count that he finds acceptable. But Dark doesn't want to wait for that. There's a big army right here, right now. It's a bunch of Ravagers, a bunch of Banes, and it's only 4 Stalkers defensively. So Trap will have to rotate around. We'll have to deal with that. He's going to scout the Banelings morphing on in, so he should know what's coming. As it looks like Zealots find their way on, or excuse me, Adepts find their way on in the main base here. A couple more workers go down. Queens will be able to force things back, and actually, ooh, that's a big F2 move. Dark's entire army is forced back to deal with 4 Adepts. Not exactly worthwhile, but it buys Trap time. Now he's 2 Colossus on the field. Now Extended Thermal Lance is maybe going to be done by the time this push happens here in earnest. And that, again, that +1 range is a big deal. But now Dark looking to run on in. Force Fields are going to have to seal off the right side. But honestly, the Force Fields are not all that great for now. Banelings, they're getting on top of everything but the Colossus. They are able to micro backwards for now, but Colossus are only good so long as there is something to buffer for them. Does not feel like there's a lot to buffer for these Colossus right now. 32 probes go down, as well as Baneling drops hit every single base. This build, this timing was executed to perfection here for Dark. He had stuff everywhere. Baneling drops in the main base. I assume Baneling drops in the natural. certainly Baneling drops in the third. We saw 3 drops go on up here, and the Stalkers, they're just going to try to chase things down, but Biles, they hit Stalkers on the retreat as well. So now Dark, he's up 70 army supply. Or 70 supply, 40 army supply. We're going to see the Dropper Lord go down. But Trap loses his 4th base. He loses 32 workers. He does not lose a Colossus, luckily enough. So at least the tech of his army mostly alive, but losing those sentries is just about as bad, to be totally honest. You need the force fields. You need to quote Parting, you need to be a maestro. You need to be able to paint with them. But instead, Trap, he's going to rely maybe on Archons just a little bit. Archons to buffer so his Colossus can fire. But this is hard for Trap now. Losing a base, losing 32 workers. Makes life extremely difficult for our Protoss player. And behind this Dark, he's not sticking on Roach Ravager Lingbane. He's not staying low tech. His Hive is just about done. And folks, the ultimate answer to Robotech, it's Hive. It's Vipers. And Dark, as soon as he throws some supply away, because right now he actually can't build any Vipers, as soon as he throws some supply away, he will be able to build a couple Vipers, yoink all of the Colossus, yoink the Disruptors, and then this is a gateway army against Lurkers, against Banes, against Lings, against all of these powerful units that do not really fight all that well. So there we go. First Viper is on the way. Baneling drop is now ready once again, and Dark has Stalkers in his 3rd base, but he does not, or Trap has Stalkers in his 3rd base. And actually, that's where Dark is going to go, so the Stalkers are going to be able to deal with that, at least in part. What is in this Warp Prism? Oh, Disruptor drops, okay, but he can retreat back to creep, so it's not going to get too much. Looks like, okay, so Observer will go down here as well. So how does Trap make this comeback? Does he have any High Templar? He does not. So any sort of feedbacks to deal with this? There's only one Viper, so you get a good feedback on the Viper, you make something happen, but now Baneling's going to roll on in. Force fields are not where they need to be. In fact, they're not really anywhere at all. But Disruptor Shot's actually going to take a damn fine trade here. There are a ton of Archons in this army. We're going to see the Overseer go down, and now here comes the army of the Protoss. It's 2 Vipers, but they're not here yet. They don't have the energy that they need. Baneling drops going to try to find its way on in. Of course, they one-shot probes, but cannons are there. And now the army looking to run on forward here. A bunch of Overlords are going to fall victim to this push. So Dark is supply block. He can't really build much of anything anymore. We have 1 Lurker on the way, but no Lurkers are done just yet. Trap has maybe found his timing here. His supply is not good, but his army supply is fairly good. The Vipers, and one of them is very low. Stalker's going to look to jump on top of that for now. There we go. 1 Colossus getting abducted, but it's not even going to go down. What a great save from Trap, and now the Stalkers blinking on forward here. Trap doing everything to keep this push alive. 1 Colossus goes down, but is he breaking through his opponent? That is the question here. Lurkers on the right side, but they do not have their upgrades just yet. They don't have bonus range. Trap warping in a couple more Stalkers. It's only a single Lurker, and there's, by the way, there's another Colossus in this Warp Prism. This push from Trap looks like it is killing Dark. Yes, he's down. He lost 19 probes, but he's up double the army supply. He's going to find his way into the natural of his opponent. Dark is forced to go for a base trade, but what's there to trade? There are walls. I like the spores, though. Spores are rather cute. But Stalkers in the main base. Colossus starting to shell away at the static defense. The Zerglings, though, they find their way into the main base of Trap here, and now Trap is forced to answer a question. Does he think he can kill his opponent right here, right now, or does he need to recall? Well, he needs to right now because he's only on 12 probes. There is no comeback from this anymore, but the Lurker Den, I believe it is dead. Yes, the Lurker Den is dead. In fact, the 1 Lurker in this game, it is also dead. And while Dark has more mining, this army that he has is just not very good. It actually looks like the Warp Prism with a couple Archons in it was recalled here. We're seeing the Hive get targeted on down. I would love to see that the Hydra Den get targeted on down as well, of course, just to reduce the upgrade to remove that from the game. But the Colossus on the Immortals on one side, untouchable. The Stalkers on the other side, also untouchable here. Dark realizing he's got to go home. He's done the max possible damage that he can. But with probes getting pulled here, Stalkers, or drones getting pulled, excuse me, Stalkers, they're going to join on in with this fight. Oh, both Colossus go down. That's a bit of an overstep here from Trap, and maybe now this is something that Dark can do. Stalkers, though, they're going to blink on top of these Hydras, but there's no Archons. It's just Stalkers on the other side that don't have the best upgrades. Has Dark done it? Has Dark found a way to knock down the meat of this army and actually make this game happen? Because remember, Dark is still mining. Dark has 2,500 gas in the bank. Trap is really not, but he has 4 Archons here, and 4 Archons, they're going to have a lot to say about this. They're going to have a lot to say about this one. Zealots will get cleaned on up here as well. More and more Overlords go down. Where's the Spire, though? Okay, bottom side. We're going to see a couple mutas get made, I think. More and more. Oh, Corruptors. Okay, they're going to get canceled. Yeah, okay, it's going to be Hydras. That makes a little more sense. I can understand going mutas in a base trade, but Spire was found out too soon. So now we're going to see this base go down. You actually don't want to lose the Overseer and or the Observer, and that will go down. There's one Observer that remains. And we do have Robo, but there's really not a lot of money. So Trap will struggle to reproduce that. Building more and more probes here as he's now finally cutting into the Zerg economy in a really impactful way. Banelings, they come crashing on in, but they knock static defense down. They're not getting on top of the probes until just now. 9, 10 workers go down, and yes, 45 drones going down, but that was 45 drones. There are 21 still remaining for Dark. Trap has been working so hard to build his economy back, and now he really doesn't have it. So Baneling's going to roll on in. 2 probes remain, 3 probes remain for Dark in this game, but where does he have to mine? He's mining out of his main base. That being said, army supply has equalized. +3 ground, +2 air is done. So the supply effectiveness of this army is in the extreme as an Archon goes down. You cannot afford to lose a single unit here as Trap, and now it looks like Dark has pulled an absolute miracle. The army of Trap is just a little bit too disjointed, so 2 Archons die. That was probably the most important component of this army. Yes, 2 Archons remain, but with the amount of DPS that exists in this army now, you need... Oh, War Prism, it's going to go down! The Archons are dead. Trap is dead, Dark. He punches his ticket to the finals.